How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading while the price is going up or down. How Bitcoin miners in Texas are making millions without mining at all. Due to the excessive heat Texas suffered, several mining outfits were pushed to turn down their mining operations, albeit temporarily. Riot Platforms made news today that it had been paid to shut down, along with Marathon Digital. It's a little deceiving. The Electronic Reliability Council of Texas, or ERCOT, was forced to implement emergency procedures during August to ensure that customers were never without energy as a heat wave scorched the state. Due to this, the miners had to reduce their mining capacities, referring to the energy credits his company received from ERCOT, less from Riot. The bulk of the credits we earn come from essentially trading power. So they're not being paid to not mine, they are trading their mining power to the state so that people can use it. Former FTX exec Ryan Salem forfeits $1.5 billion in plea deal. During the hearing, Salem appeared before Judge Kaplan. He pled guilty to conspiring to make unlawful contributions and defrauded the Federal Election Commission. As part of his plea deal with the Department of Justice, Salem has agreed to forfeit $1.5 billion. FBI agents in April raided Salem's Washington, D.C. home, and he was accused of giving $24 million to Republicans using FTX customer cash, but prosecutors have not yet announced criminal charges against him. The news comes as FTX founder SBF prepares to start his own criminal trial in October, and he has been denied for immediate release that he asked for because the defense has not been able to prove how they are not able to meet what they need to get done with their accommodations. They have seen some of the most accommodations any criminal has seen. Japanese financial giant to use Ripple for international remittance. That's good for XRP and Ripple. According to an apparent release from September 6th, Japan's SBI Group is set to begin providing international remittance services using the crypto asset XRP to bank accounts. This will happen as soon as this month. By using XRP as a bridge currency, you can transfer money quickly at a low cost. Furthermore, it has excellent scalability, allowing users to easily send money to Ripple's partners around the world. And we believe that this will lead stronger competitiveness in international remittance businesses, reads the translated announcement. To begin with, the aforementioned services will only be available to those with bank accounts in the Philippines, Vietnam, and Indonesia. SBI Remit will continue to work hard to increase the number of countries where the remittances are possible through partnerships with Ripple and other fintech companies. On to the charts. We got a little bit of a pump on our altcoins. Bitcoin's looking a little bit better. RSI's heading up, our stochastic's moving up, the VWAP's heading up, and the momentum is trying to get a green dot. The VWAP is pushing forward, but it's kind of flattening out here. So if we don't gain some strong green candles and break this Fibonacci zone tomorrow, we could ultimately see a rejection from this zone. So keep that in mind. We haven't quite broken this pattern yet for total. Bitcoin dominance, we are making a decent bounce up. RSI's heading up, our stochastic has a bullish cross, our VWAP is in the bullish territory, our momentum has a green dot, and the money flow is coming up. So we do look pretty decent. Watch for a higher high on the money flow, as that would start a bullish trend. We are pumping up, so that is good, but don't get too excited. Over on Bitcoin futures, we did gap up. We did gap down too before, so we could come up, fill one of these gaps, and then get rejected and fill these gaps again. So watch out for a lower high. That could get everyone excited and we could get rejected from. Our stochastic is heading up, our RSI is curling up, our VWAP is pushing up, our money flow is trying to trend up, and the momentum's coming up with a bullish divergence. So we do look good to push up. I would just be worried about the sustainability of that push. Over on Bitcoin for the daily, we almost hit the top of our pattern. So we came back into it. We'll want to see tomorrow if we can break through or confirm within it. If we just get a big red candle tomorrow, we could break out. But we have been warning a couple days that this could happen. Our VWAP is heading up, RSI is coming up, our stochastic is pushing into the bullish territory. It has a slight bullish cross, but it's not too strong yet. So watch the next candle closely. Our momentum is coming up with a green dot, so we are looking pretty decent. Over on the 4 hour here, we do have a reversal arrow trying to push us up. So that is good for us. Our VWAP is pushing up, momentum's coming up. The VWAP is starting to curl though, so watch out. This is the zone where it has been rejected from before. I don't think it's really gone much higher than this zone too often, so keep that in mind as well. Our RSI is trending up, stochastic's running up. Our money flow is starting to kind of retract away from that neutral though, so even though we're trying to push up, the money flow is not quite getting the bullish push. So if the money flow comes down and makes a lower low, we could break out of this pattern and get a rejection. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic's starting to round off, our RSI is starting to round off, our VWAP is coming down, our money flow did reject from that neutral, we are riding under it, so we're not quite pushing bearish, but we're not going bullish either, so we're kind of in between. We're not sure where we want to go yet. Our momentum is trying to push up, but with everything else curling down, we could get a push lower. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a pretty decent red candle here, so if we see continued red candles, this could just round off and push down to our support, which would likely happen before we push resistance. Our stochastic is pushing down, our RSI is coming down, our momentum is pushing up. We do have strong momentum, but the VWAP's overall trending out, and it's getting close to that neutral, so if the VWAP breaks bearish, that momentum's likely to come out on us. Money flow is also trending toward the bearish side. It's been kind of zigzagging around, doesn't know what kind of a trend it wants to go. So even though we're getting a bullish push, we're not quite strong in any kind of bullish trend, so this could be a fake out. Over on the daily for graph, we aren't really going anywhere. One of the worst coins for today. Stochastic's starting to kind of round off, RSI is pretty flat. Our VWAP is pretty flat above that neutral. Our money flow is pretty flat below the neutral. Momentum does want to make a bullish divergence, but we're not quite getting the momentum to push us up and get some strength, kind of like Bitcoin is. Over on the 4 hour, you can see we got rejected by our resistance several times. We could end up just Bart Simpson and then drop down. Our VWAP is running up, stochastic's making a bullish cross, pushing up. Our RSI is bouncing up, and the momentum's coming up. The money flow is in the bearish territory though, so we could still see bearish trends if this doesn't flip bullish. Over on the 2 hour, looks like we pulled an anchor on graph. We have a gap here, so we could see that drop us down. Stochastic's starting to roll off. Our RSI wants to push up. Our VWAP is running up. It's kind of going flat here though. Our money flow overall is trending out. We did touch the neutral and we are coming back for another touch. If we break through the neutral here, we could set up that bearish momentum. The VWAP could roll over and we could fill that gap. At which point, if we continue down, we could see lower price action. The momentum is starting to roll away, so just watch these lower time frames as they're looking a little iffy. We have a green candle on this right, or a green dot on our red candle that's preceded by this reversal arrow. Usually those push us up pretty decent. This one didn't really take us anywhere, but sometimes those will push us up pretty decent. I haven't typically seen them with a red candle, so that's a little interesting. We'll have to see if it plays out, but this could ultimately pull us down too, as it's bullish action on a bearish candle. Our stochastic is pushing down, RSI is pushing down, momentum's rolling out, our VWAP is trending out, our money flow is starting to round out and starting a new bearish trend, so we could ultimately see that go lower and push us down. We're on anchor for the daily, we're pushing toward our pattern. We want to break through, we'll have to see if we can confirm a breakthrough and see if tomorrow's candle is green to push us forward. Our stochastic's running up, the VWAP is kind of flat here, but we are ramping up a little bit. Our RSI is running up a little bit here as well, so we do have potential to see some bullish momentum form. Our money flow is pushing up, and our momentum's trending up with a bullish divergence, so that wants to carry us higher. We've seen that for a few days now. So we'll have to see if we can get another green candle, push past this kind of support resistance area, and continue up. Over on the 4 hour, we do have a little bit of a gap here around that 1889. So we could see that fill, and then we could get a rejection from that, as I don't think we have any higher gaps. And we have a higher gap of about 2.2, but that would be quite the run up from here. That'd be like 80% or something, so that'd be pretty crazy to see right now. We'd have to gain some real strong bullish momentum, and Bitcoin ETFs would have to get approved or something crazy like that. Our VWAP is getting higher highs and pushing up. Our momentum's coming up. Our RSI is trending up. Our stochastic's trying to push up. Our money flow is in a bullish trend, but it looks like it could come back down, so watch out if it makes a lower low, as that could bring us back down for a new bearish trend. Over on the 2 hour, our stochastic's starting to roll off. Our RSI is heading up. Our momentum's coming up. Our VWAP is trending bullish somewhat, but we are heading back down. So if this VWAP breaks that neutral, we could see a little bit of a swing down here. Our money flow, it did make a new high, at least locally, but it is starting to push down. So if we break through this like 775 zone, then we could see lower price action, and that money flow could start to trend out as people would start to be selling them. Our stochastic is running out, RSI is starting to curl out, momentum's coming out. We have a red dot on our RSI, so that wants to signal that we could get pushed down. We have a red candle here pushing our support, so if the next couple candles are red and push us lower, we could break this and see that continued downside. We did have a gap here at 1845 form, and we do have another gap at 1806. So while we have that higher gap on the higher time frames, we do also have these lower gaps to fill yet too. Our money flow overall is trending out, our VWAP's overall trending out, and the VWAP's about to break through that neutral, so keep an eye on it. If it breaks bearish, we could get a rejection and push lower. Over on XRP, we're pretty similar here. Can't quite get through that pattern. We are trying to push bullish, but we're not quite getting the bullish momentum we're seeing on Bitcoin. Our stochastic's starting to roll over. It does have a bearish cross. RSI is pretty flat. That VWAP is pretty flat. The money flow is getting higher lows, but consistent highs, so it's not quite a bullish trend. Our momentum is coming up. We have a green dot, but that VWAP's not really gaining much strength either. So just be weary of a red candle to form and bring us down. If we get a green candle tomorrow to break us above this resistance, and that would be promising for us to head toward the point control, and then afterwards our higher area on our janky line here. Gotta straighten that one out too. Over on the 4 hour, looking for my keyboard again. We are trying to push this resistance, but we are starting to fall. So if the next candle is the red candle, we could get a tweezer top and push down from here. Our stochastic is running up. RSI is trying to run up. Our VWAP is making higher highs and pushing up. Our money flow is in a slight bullish trend. We are getting higher lows, but we're struggling to get higher highs, so it's going to have to get a green candle after this. Otherwise, we would be in jeopardy of seeing our price action start to decline. Over on the 2 hour, we are getting a reversal arrow here, so that does want to bring us down, so keep an eye on that. Our stochastic's starting to round out. Our RSI is heading up, but starting to flatten out right around the 60. So if we can't push higher, we could see a pullback from here. We are getting lower highs with lower lows. We do have a slight bearish trend that way. So if this bearish trend does end up playing out, it would push us forward. However, that would be dependent on us not just getting some random spill from here. Our money flow is starting to push down. It is riding above that neutral. We're going to need that money flow to push up and curl away if we're going to get some sustained bullish action. Our VWAP is looking a little iffy too, as it's starting to flatten out after getting toward a high spot where it does tend to reject from and start trend downs. So just keep that in mind. Right here we kind of push down to here. Right here, push down to here. So right here, we could potentially push down to that area again, or we could start to push lower. So that's kind of the trend we're seeing. Over on the 1 hour, we have a tweezer tops forming. If you're not familiar with tweezer tops, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and join us with that Discord link either down below or up above and get our resources. Our stochastic is starting to push out, RSI is starting to curl out, our momentum is starting to kind of taper out, and the VWAP is coming down. The money flow is testing that neutral, so we are in jeopardy of seeing a breakdown from here. If our money flow breaks bearish and the VWAP breaks bearish and everything else continues down, we could get that push down and see this pattern play out. Over on Algo, we do have a pretty good pump here. Best performer of the day for once. RSI is pushing up. Our stochastic is pushing up too. Our VWAP is pushing up. Our money flow is pushing against that neutral and wants to go bullish. And the momentum has a green dot that wants to push us forward as well. So we do look pretty promising. We are struggling to maintain this support resistance zone. We're going to need a green candle to push us higher if we're going to have a hope of pushing toward the value area low, where we could expect some resistance from. But Algo has been pretty fudded. I mean, XRP's been pretty fudded too. But the FUD isn't going to last forever, and it's likely going to start to taper off at some point, especially when all the iffy people start to see prices actually move up in a bull market. Our stochastic's pushing up, RSI's pushing up, our momentum's pushing higher, the VWAP's overall trending out, so watch out for that. We're getting lower highs. If we roll over here and get a lower low, that could push us to the bearish side. Our money flow is in the bullish territory, but it is struggling to maintain any kind of strong trend. So if it rolls over here, we could get a big rejection just as we got a big move up. Over on the 2 hour, our stochastic's making lower highs, so we do have a bearish divergence forming as our price is making higher highs. Our RSI is starting to curl out, our momentum is pushing up, our money flow overall is kind of tapering out here. Our VWAP is starting to push away as well, so we could see some decline from here and test our kind of our support. If we don't manage to bounce off the support, that's the point where we could see this pattern play out. I did warn that we would have like 3 touches, I believe, on the 4 hour it was. So this 1, 2, we would be coming up for number 3. So that's why I'm telling people, don't get too excited. So while it looks like we are getting a bullish run up, we are still within patterns. Stochastic's heading up on the 2 hour, RSI's still heading up, the momentum's still coming up, our VWAP's overall trending out, and the money flow's overall trending out on the 2 hour. On the 1 hour, we're starting to get a rejection here, so we may not make it to the full height, and we could see this be our top here. Our stochastic's starting to push pretty hard, it wants to break down, our RSI is trying to do the same, and our momentum wants to roll over, so we are in jeopardy of pushing down pretty hard right here. Our momentum looks like it wants to roll out as our VWAP's pushing down and getting close to that neutral. The money flow is pushing in a bullish trend. We did make a new high, but that is kind of worrisome as we haven't really been this high too often, and we could see a rejection as we're starting to curl. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night.